Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's good to see you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for all that you do for agriculture. And I'm very excited and appreciative of what you're doing to try to promote more meat processing plants nearby in our rural communities, and I know that has been a focus of yours. I did send a letter last July asking for some clarification of what the criteria was going to be for distribution of that first $375 million for independent processors. So could you give me an update on the criteria for those monies, and more specifically, will processors who began operating or conducted any expansions since or during the beginning of COVID be able to qualify for these monies?
We provided some additional resources for existing facilities to expand under our loan guarantee program that was announced several weeks ago. In addition, as you mentioned, the grant program is going to be broken down into two tranches. The first $150 million is going to be made available. We hope the framework of that and the structure of that will be disclosed in the next few weeks. And it is designed primarily to jumpstart projects that are ready to go, that are shovel ready. They just need a little encouragement. They could be an expansion of an existing facility, or they could be new construction. Either one will qualify. And the hope is that we get 10, 15, 20 projects that are funded through that process. And then in the summer, another $225 million of grant resource and $275 million of additional low-interest financing will become available. That will also be available for both existing facilities wishing to expand and for new facilities. And the goal here, I think, is to make sure that we are addressing the wide array and range of needs from very, very small processing operations to mid-sized operations. We're hopeful that we see farmer-owned cooperatives take a look at the possibility of accessing some of these resources so that we expand capacity and obviously competition. And the belief is that when we do that, producers will benefit, and so will consumers.
Sure. Well, there is some entities that stood up because they saw a need, and they went in debt, and now they can't qualify because they're already up and running. They're not expanding. They started from fresh. But I would encourage you, maybe we could talk offline, to not forget those people who put everything on the line and went to the bank and mortgaged everything in order to stand up a plant, but now they don't qualify, and just because of the timing. So anyway, I would appreciate it if we could talk further about that, and we don't leave anybody out who has stood up and really tried to help in that regard. There is some also recent news regarding, and it's exciting, that there was a successful transplant of a heart from a genetically engineered pig into a human, and that is something, certainly an advancement that we can be pleased about with biotechnology. But unfortunately, it's also a stark reminder of the lack of a clear path to commercialization for animal biotechnology products intended for agriculture rather than medical purposes. For example, the University of Missouri in my district has been a leader in developing a PRRS-resistant hogs. And because of the current process and jurisdictional mayhem between USDA and the FDA, this technology is not yet available for producers, and yet China and other countries are moving forward very rapidly to get to this point, but we already have that technology. So, Mr. Secretary, as we move closer to having a confirmed FDA commissioner, how do you plan to engage with your counterparts at HHS to finalize the work started on the advance notice of proposed rulemaking and related MOU on the genetically engineered animals?
Well, Congresswoman, we actually thought we had done that work with a signed MOU, but there is some indication from the FDA and Department of Health and Human Services that they don't believe that there was authority for the folks who signed that on behalf of FDA. So we obviously would, as soon as the FDA commissioner is confirmed, we will work very closely with that individual to make sure that there is ongoing discussions and negotiations to complete that MOU. We understand and appreciate the necessity of having clarity, and we're anxious to have that.